and welcome to this course on creating your master resume. A master resume is a comprehensive document that allows you include all of your skills, experience, and achievements. Today, we'll guide you through the process of creating your master resume, covering essential steps and tips to ensure you build a strong foundation for your job applications in Canada. Let's get started. When creating your master resume, the first step is to clear your mind and clear your head. You have to treat this process as work in progress. Starting with a clear mindset allows you to focus on capturing all your relevant experiences without feeling overwhelmed. Remember, your master resume is a dynamic document that will evolve over time. You don't have to get it right the first time. There are no guardrails, there's no rules. Just dump all of the information that you need to dump in there so that you can have it to fall back on when you're creating your two-page Canadian resume. You have to set aside a dedicated time and space for this task. Try as much as possible to eliminate distractions and prepare to dive into your career history with a fresh perspective. Number 2, you want to brainstorm and list out everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Your skills, your experiences, your accomplishments. Don't worry about organizing them just yet. Just focus on capturing every single thing, even the ones that you don't think make sense. This is the beauty of having that master resume. It doesn't have to make sense. Just put everything in there. Think about your entire career journey, including jobs, volunteer work, internships, relevant projects. No detail is too small or too big. Everything is important. For instance, if you manage the community event, include it in your list along with your responsibilities and outcomes. Next, you want to think about some of the skills that you didn't even know that you had. You want to explore skills that you might have not really realized that you possessed, right? These are skills that are often overlooked, but they are very valuable if you think about them. If you think about the Canadian context, they might be able to enhance your resume in your, in your job, Canadian job search. Soft skills such as communication, teamwork, problem solving, leadership, these are very crucial skills, and you want to reflect on various experiences to identify these hidden skills. For example, if you ever coordinated a project or resolved a conflict where you demonstrated leadership and problem solving skills, these are skills you want to include, even though they might not have been part of your typical work job responsibilities, or maybe you didn't even carry them out while you were doing your 9 to 5 or your regular job in your home country. When you move to Canada, think about areas where volunteering, it may not have been called volunteering. This is very important for me to mention. Volunteering may not have been called volunteering, right? It may just have been something that it was a passion project for you. It was something it was a problem that you saw and you did something to find a way to solve it. Or maybe a friend or colleagues just called you to get involved get involved in a project, and you gave it your best shot. There's a tendency for us not to really, consider such experiences, or for us to discount such experiences or projects or activities when we're creating our resume in Canada. It's very important that you do not discount those experiences. You may find them very valuable in your job search here in Canada. The next thing is for you to document your transferable skills. Identify and document skills, skills that are applicable across various industries. Think of the skills I mentioned earlier, like skills where maybe you were not really, you were kind of, how do I explain this now? You were underestimating, the power of such skills, such as communication, critical thinking, problem solving, project management. Think of a situation, maybe a friend called you or invited you to join them on a passion project, and you got on board, you helped in a specific way. You can actually identify how you helped. Maybe you even just made connections. You helped them to make connections, or you helped them to organize people, or you helped them to identify assets, within the community to help with the project, or anything, or you've raised funds, or you kept records, you did some bookkeeping. Meanwhile, bookkeeping may not have been part of your, regular responsibilities in your job, right? But these are things that you really want to be paying attention to so that you might be able to find a way to adapt them to other situations, other job roles that may not have been in alignment with your previous job role in your home country. For example, if you have experience in customer service, skills like empathy, communication, conflict resolution are transferable to many other fields. Empathy, I think there's no field in this world that doesn't require empathy, right? I don't think there's also any job role that doesn't require excellent communication. Also conflict resolution. So that shows you that even if you're trying to get into a new space here that you think, oh, you don't have a lot of experience in, you may be able to extract some transferable skills from past projects, past job roles that may make you a candidate of choice for the area that you're trying to get into. Next, you want to organize your information. Once you've gathered all of your experiences and skills, it's time to organize the information. Try your best to structure your master resume into sections such as work experience, education, skills, and achievements. And it's important for me to say here that your master resume doesn't have to be in the same formats that your, typical Canadian resume would be. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't even need to have any sections like specially like that. Just no, just you don't need to format the sections. That's what I'm trying to say. It needs to have headings, but you don't need to format the sections. You don't need to pay attention to, margins, because you're not sending it to anybody. It's just for you. For you, think of it as your bank, your work experience bank, or your education bank, or your skills bank. That if you want to apply for any job, you can then go in there and search. So organizing that resume into those different sections helps you to go, it makes it easier for you to go in and update. That's the only thing. So when I say you don't have to structure it, I mean you don't have to do too much on formatting or making it look fancy, but just ensure that it has headings that you can easily identify and go in to update. It also makes it easy for you to get information when you're trying to tailor your resume for specific applications. So try to use clear headings and bullet points, and that's about it. It doesn't have to be fancy. So create a section for each job you've had, detail all the responsibilities, and achievements in bullet points. You also want to try to see what the common threads are. So if you have like 5 different jobs or roles that you have documented, try to see if across those 5 different roles there are specific skills or specific achievements that cut across something that it could just constantly shows up as something that you're very good at. For example, when I was in the financial services industry and I was responsible for relationship management, it was a sales role, but I often had people in the operations team in my organization. That's the branch. We call the branch. That's the operating, how do I explain the branch? A typical bank branch that you go into to get your money, to your transactions. I would often get people coming to me to say, oh, we're having challenges with this customer. Can you come in and talk to the customer? Can you try to help pacify the customer? Right. After a while, I was able to identify that I had excellent conflict resolution skills. It wasn't something that I used a lot in my sales role, right? In engaging with clients, trying to get them to do transactions with my bank. But I found that in engaging with my colleagues within the organization, I found that they kept coming back to me to help to resolve conflicts. Even when colleagues were having challenges, people will come to me and say, oh, these people are having a challenge. Do you want to come in and try to, find a way to mediate, in those situations? So that helped me to identify that. So the point I'm trying to make is in doing your master resume, try to think of things like that beyond your typical job responsibilities, what are those things that kept showing up all through your career journey? What are those things that people would typically come to you for to get help for? What are also those things that you struggle with so that you can know areas where you need to make improvements or embark on some professional development campaign, if you call it that, journey to improve so you can get the life of your dreams. The next point is that you want to highlight your achievements and metrics. Like I said earlier, try to look through the different job roles and see the achievements that keep coming up. So those are the ones you want to highlight because they are the ones that are, that you can recreate. You can recreate. You also want to reflect on how was I able to achieve these things? What was I doing? What was the common thing that I would typically do that would help me achieve these things? An example is, you remember how I said when people would come to me to help, mediate conflicts and things like that. One thing I know I always used to do was to like come down to the level of the customer, sit with them, try to listen to them, like really listen to them, lean close to them, make them feel like, oh my, I feel your pain. And usually it was always successful. It just always worked because they'll make statements like, oh yes, thank God you're here. You're so understanding. They'll make statements like that. So I knew that that was something that I used to do a lot. And now when I'm engaging with people and I'm trying to make them understand that I care about them and I understand their point, I lean close, I, give those cues. So what are those things that you would typically do that would help you to make, to achieve the things that you achieved all through your career? Employers are interested in your contributions and results. You have to be able to quantify your achievements with numbers, percentages, statistics, and know how you were able to achieve those things. Again, I have to emphasize that. Know how you were able to achieve those things. Because if you don't know how you were able to achieve them, you won't be able to replicate the successes. You won't be able to replicate the achievements. So if an employer gets you on board because you're able to achieve something, and you cannot replicate that achievement, that becomes a challenge. That's why I said try to identify what you did differently that helped you achieve those things that you were able to achieve so that you can replicate them in future. So talking about your achievements and how you should, articulate them. Instead of saying something like manage the team, just that, you could go further and say led a team of 10, the number, increasing productivity by 20%. So that takes it further. It doesn't just end with managing a team now. It talks about the number of people on your team and what's happened as a result of you leading that team. And I think I've talked about this in a different video. So that's bonus for you. Okay. Moving on. You really, really have to do the work of, I wouldn't really say overcoming imposter syndrome, but I would say addressing imposter syndrome. You have to do your best to recognize your worth. You have to remember who you are. Many people experience imposter syndrome, that feeling that you're not good enough, despite all of the achievements you have, that feeling that, oh, someone is going to come and catch you, and find out that all the things that you've accomplished, it wasn't really things that, or they were not really things that um you you were worthy of. If that's coming up for you, I have good news for you. It happens to a lot of people. You're not alone. So it is important for you to recognize your worth and your value. Do the work of just being stubborn. Yes, being very stubborn about recognizing your value. Imposter syndrome can undermine your confidence. And this is not unusual. You just moved to a new country. You are most likely a minority. You're most likely still trying to understand the space. Therefore, you have to remind yourself of your achievements. Remind yourself of that high flyer that you were and the skills that you've developed over your career span, right? And just know that you didn't leave them back home. They're still with you and you can still use them here to achieve those same wonderful results that you got in your home country. One tip is you can just keep a list of these accomplishments. Think of the positive feedback that you've received from your colleagues, your supervisors in the past. This tends to boost your confidence sometimes when your confidence is shaking and you remember that, oh, I used to be commended for this. I was able to do this very well, and I still remain the same person. I haven't lost those skills and I can apply them here. Next, seek feedback and validate your skills. Seek feedback from trusted peers or mentors to validate your skills and experiences. There are many times, there's a saying that a lamp cannot see its own bottom, and that is a direct translation from my language. Translate it anyhow you want to. What I'm trying to say is that there are many times that you've done everything that I've said. You've been stubborn, you've thought about it, you've tried to remind yourself of how amazing you are, but it's just still not working. This is the point where you want to identify mentors, people who have been committed to supporting you in the past. Seek them out. Talk to them about these challenges and let them, remind you of the amazing absolute spectacular gem that you are. They would also be able to offer you constructive feedback to provide insights into the strengths that you have, which is what is amazing, but also areas where you need to improve so that you can refine your resume and be prepared for the interviews when they do begin to show up. One thing you can do is to share your master resume with your mentor. I know that you were not supposed to share with anybody. That's what I said. But I want to believe that you have mentors that you trust who are not, finicky about the formatting or any of those things. It doesn't even have to be a mentor. It can be a friend that you know has a good head on their shoulders, right? Ask for the person's input on how to highlight your strengths and your strengths more effectively. Another thing a friend or a mentor can do for you is to help you identify things that you're missing out. It's possible that in your creation of your master resume, there are many things, despite watching this video and knowing that you shouldn't undermine anything. There's a possibility that you may have just thought, no, there's no need for me to include that. It doesn't really matter. It wasn't such a big deal. The job of the mentor or a friend would be to say, did you not do that the other time? Did you not get this achievement the other time? Did you not get this result the other time? I think these are things that you need to include on your resume. Just hearing those things from another person, from other people can, remind you or let you know that, okay, I should be including these things on my resume. I shouldn't be underestimating my own power or my own skills or my own achievement. So to summarize, creating your master resume involves clearing your mind, identifying all of your skills and experiences, organizing your information, and doing your best to overcome imposter syndrome. By following the steps, you would be able to build a comprehensive and dynamic resume that serves as a strong foundation for your job applications, right? And don't forget, if you can find someone, a trusted person, like a mentor or a friend or a beloved colleague to share that master resume with, just for the purpose of them, reminding you of the things that you may have omitted and then giving you feedback, you may want to do that so that you can have, again, a solid foundation for your job application and your resume creation. Thank you for watching this video and good luck with creating your master resume.